Sometimes a single memory can tell a whole story, a really massive story. Today, we're going to look at how one man's childhood experience with, of all things, a simple sugar cube really captures the fear, the hope, and the incredible triumph of a public health revolution. His name is Buck, and this is his story. And that quote, that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? For a kid, it wasn't about statistics or science. It was about this terrifying, real-life image, the iron lung. That was the fear that haunted an entire generation. And that's where our story really kicks off. So to really get why this was a miracle, we gotta first understand the fear. We're heading back to the middle of the 20th century, a time when one single disease cast this long, dark shadow over pretty much every family in America. You have to picture the time, right? Science had already beaten these huge diseases like smallpox. So there was this feeling of progress, of optimism, but that almost made polio seem worse, more personal. It was the boogeyman that was still very, very real. And for Buck, this wasn't some story on the radio or in the newspaper. He saw it with his own eyes. A family friend had to use arm crutches, and that was a constant physical reminder of what polio could do. And even though he says he couldn't totally understand it as a kid, he could feel it, that quiet panic that all the adults were carrying around. So what was happening in Buck's world was really just a small snapshot of a huge nationwide crisis. To really get a handle on just how big this fear was, all you have to do is look at the numbers. And they are staggering. Take a look at this number. 38,476. Now, that's not a total over decades. That's how many polio cases were reported in the U.S. in 1954 alone, the year Buck was born. It just instantly helps you understand why parents were so terrified. And if you dig into that number, it gets even scarier. Because of all those thousands of cases, look at this. Almost half of them, 48%, resulted in paralysis. It was basically a coin flip. That's what people were truly afraid of. It wasn't just about getting sick, it was about your life being changed forever. But here's the amazing part. Right as this fear is hitting its absolute peak, science starts to fight back, and fast. The crisis hits its high point, and almost immediately, solutions start rolling out. First as a shot, and then, well, as something much, much simpler. Okay, so the first big breakthrough, it came in a syringe. For the first time, communities felt like they could finally actually do something about this. The Salk vaccine shows up just a year after Buck was born. It was a series of shots, and Buck actually has this dim memory of getting his last one. He was right there in that first wave of kids being protected. It was this huge deal, a massive step forward. But believe it or not, it wasn't the moment that stuck with him the most. And that brings us right to the heart of the story, the moment that gives this whole thing its name. It's an event that is just crystal clear in Buck's mind, even all these years later. Because for all the good those shots did, the real turning point in his memory, the thing that felt truly momentous, was something else entirely. Just this. A sugar cube. So simple, right? An ordinary little cube of sugar. But this one was different. This one held the Sabin vaccine, which was an oral vaccine, way easier to distribute, and for a kid, so much better than a needle. This was a total game changer. And his memory of that day is just incredible. He remembers exactly where he was, the gym at Sunset School. He remembers the whole community being there, this powerful moment of everyone together standing in this long, long line for the very same reason. And that feeling he had, just pure, absolute relief. In that one moment, taking that one little sugar cube, the scariest pictures from his childhood, the iron lung, the crutches, they just dissolved. The fear was finally gone. And really, that's what it all boils down to. On one side, you've got the terrifying, complex reality of the disease. And on the other, it's defeat, delivered in the simplest, sweetest way you could possibly imagine. The contrast is just, wow. Buck's story is such a powerful reminder of a time when a vaccine wasn't just routine, it felt like an actual miracle. And it kind of makes you think, doesn't it? What amazing things are happening all around us in our own lives that we've just gotten so used to, we've forgotten to see them for the miracles they really are.